Happy Friday, everyone. I hope everyone is doing well. I don't know about you, but I am so happy it is Friday and it's the end of the work week, and I'm looking forward to the weekend. I know you guys are too. So let's just get to it, you guys. So yesterday, when I talked about the shit show hearing of Pam Bondi and how she refused to answer questions that was given to her by the Democrats representative, how she did not acknowledge the victims of Epstein, how she did not even turn her head and say that she's sorry, none of that. And I just wanted to say, she's a disgrace. She's a disgrace, first of all. It's a shame that she doesn't even take accountability of everything that has happened in regards to the Epstein files. You know what I mean? There's no accountability. All she's doing is blaming, blaming, blaming. But anyway, I just wanted to point out, for the last 6 months, you guys, okay, the American people wanted transparency by Trump administration, excuse me. We wanted transparency. We wanted honesty. You were supposed to give us access to the Epstein files, but you only gave us release the binders, the first release of the binders. You were telling us that you was going to tell us the truth about the files, be most transparent ever in your administration. You didn't do that. You failed. You didn't do none of that. You didn't do none of that. So what do you expect from the American people? To just believe what you're saying, believe in what you're telling us, and it's been 6 months and you didn't give us anything. First, Pam said, the files is on my desk, ready to be reviewed. Then she turned around and said, there's no files. There's nothing to review. There was no trafficking. Basically, like I keep saying, the victims trafficked themselves. And by the way, you guys, I had a heated debate with my husband last night. And I'm like telling him, why does it have to be political? A crime has been committed. And he said, well, it is political because, Epstein is in it. The government's in it. Yeah, I understand it. But why does this whole situation that has happened to the survivors, to the victims, why does it have to be political? A crime has been committed. You have these elite men having sex with underage girls. That's a crime. Why does it have to be a politic thing? I don't get it. It should be separate. And I was like telling him that, and I was being very transparent with my husband. Like, he's very hopeful. He's saying that, you can't just say, arrest everyone. First of all, I told him I did not say that. I said that there haven't been any transparency. There hasn't been any investigation of opening the case and reviewing everything and finding out who are the perpetrators. Now, I was telling my husband, a lot of men has hanged out with Epstein and had associated with Epstein. However, it doesn't mean that they were engaged in human trafficking. They were not engaged in having sex with underage girls. I understand that they have to do the investigations and narrow out who were the men that were having sex with underage girls and who were being trafficked by the elite men. However, there's footage. And I was telling my husband, you trying to tell me that Pam have like 1,000 staffs, people that work for her, and they can't review the footage of the men that had sex with underage girls? Obviously, we can't see, they can't share that with us. I get that, but they've seen the men's faces. So why they can't eliminate that? They've seen the men's faces. They've seen the men having sex with these underage girls. Now, let me remind you, there's some men who did not engage in having sex with underage girls, that some of these underage girls at the time, the minors, had massages. They massaged these men, but they didn't engage in any sexual activity. I get that too. And the men's that were involved, like meaning that didn't engage in the sex trafficking, didn't engage in sexual activity with the victims, they should be at least questioned, don't you think? They should at least be questioned and figure out what they know. If you question those men who did not engage, you never know, they might expose to other people. You never know, there might be whistleblowers. And that's what I was trying to explain to him, but this conversation got so heated, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to pause. I'm going to pause because we have different opinions, which we're entitled to, but he wanted me to agree with him that there's going to be justice going to be made. There's going to be due process. And I'm telling him, you living in cuckoo world, okay? I came to the realization, this is what I told my husband last night, there's not going to be arrests made. Names are going to be exposed. People are going to lose, these elite men are going to lose their businesses. People are not going to deal with them anymore because people are actually going to see these men are pedophiles and then they have sex with underage girls in the past, okay? Yeah, their reputation is going to be ruined, tarnished, or whatever, but they're not going to be any arrests made. And that's what I told my husband, and that's the facts. That's my opinion. And I am allowed to voice my opinion and say that. And he didn't want to hear it. He thinks that there's going to be arrests. He thinks there's going to be justice. I'm like, have you seen what's been going on? Like, especially with the Charlie Kirk assassination. I don't get it. That's what I told my husband. I don't get it. But he wants to believe what he wants to believe, and that is fine. He's entitled to that. That's his right to have that opinion. But I am not naive. I was naive when I was younger, thinking that our government was for us, for the American people, to make America great again, to help us, to strive, for us to be successful. None of that. I was blindsided. I was a fool, and I was young, and I didn't know no better. I was very, very naive. Now my eyes are open. I'm reading books now, especially Chaos, and how they manipulated people, how they brainwashed people, how the CIA, FBI, MK Ultra. I'm reading all that stuff. I'm educating myself because I did not know all this. They didn't teach this to me in school. You know what I mean? I was trying to tell my husband that I'm learning, I'm educating myself, and it's good to learn all this stuff. It's good to be educated. And for him to believe, and he's naive, to believe that our government is for our side, our government is for us. Look what's happening. They couldn't even be transparent with the Epstein files. President Trump said it's a hoax. It's a Democratic hoax. We still talking about the Epstein files? Like gaslighting the public, gaslighting us, saying there's nothing there, when clearly there's a lot there. There's a lot there. From day one, they was supposed to be transparent with us, and they haven't at all. Instead, they're gaslighting us, and there's nothing there. There's nothing to see. Why are we still talking about Epstein? Epstein been dead. It's just ridiculous. And Pam, she just lies. She couldn't even answer any question that we're giving to her. And this man, Jared, I'm going to see if I pronounce his name correct, Jared Moschwitz, he recapped everything. Okay, everything that he said, he recapped it all to Pam Bondi. And I'm just going to let Jared take it away.
When you were...
Whoops, hold on again.
After the shooting at my high school at Marjory Stoneman Douglas, in my hometown of Parkland, when we passed a bipartisan bill, the Marjory Stoneman Douglas School Safety Act, which was the largest policy response to a school shooting in American history. Your department also prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law a constituent of mine and former felon that had plans to kill me when he was picked up by law enforcement after he was target practicing in his backyard with 2 rifles, a scope, a silencer, 3,000 rounds of ammunition, an anti-Semitic manifesto. My name was the only name on their target list, and my kids found out about this from their friends at school. So thank you. However, the most transparent administration in American history. Before Trump, we didn't know the word transparency, apparently. It's been 12 months since you gave Republican influencers part 1 of the Epstein files. You said the list was on your desk. Then a memo came out and said that there was no list. Phase 2 of the binders never happened. The President of the United States says the Epstein thing is a hoax. He blasts his own base for wanting the release of the files. He blamed Barack Obama. Republicans voted against the release of the files in the Rules Committee. Then they refused to even return to the Rules Committee until they could be protected from future votes on the release. Speaker Johnson sends Congress home a day early before break. They sent the Deputy Attorney General to meet with Maxwell. She says something favorable about the president. Miraculously, she gets transferred to a minimum security facility. No one can explain why. Miraculously, the leaks to the Wall Street Journal stop. We come back from break. We have the Massey discharge petition. Republicans drop a rule, a non-binding resolution trying to kill the Massey discharge petition. The White House says passing the Massey discharge petition is a hostile act. Trying to stop the necessary 218 signatures, according to Republican members that signed it, the White House brought them into the Situation Room, you know, the place where the president goes for time of war. promising things like appropriations or maybe even to primary them. People in the room say you were there. It didn't work. We get the 200 million signatures. We eventually passed the Massey petition. You guys didn't release the files. You were forced by Congress, every member of the House except one, and the entire Senate. The reason the president signed it is because it was a veto-proof majority. We can't agree on anything, and yet the entire House but one member and the whole Senate forced the administration to release the files. Kash Patel under oath said to Senator Kennedy, the FBI is not in possession of any credible evidence that Epstein trafficked girls to anyone but himself. We know now that's not true. According to documents, Epstein had a worldwide sex trafficking ring. Girls from Poland, Czechoslovakia, Russia, Paris, modeling agencies sending him girls. He even had a relationship with a summer camp where he groomed girls at a picnic table. Ghislaine Maxwell says 29 Epstein associates cut secret DOJ deals. Turns out there is a list. 6 names readily available if you unredact them. Co-conspirators named, but we got them when you unredact them. Maxwell recently tells a House Oversight Committee that she wants clemency to release more names. Kash Patel under oath said Trump's name appears less than 100 times in the files. We now know that's not true. Trump's name appears more times in the Epstein files than God's name appears in the book about God. Okay, by the way, this is the Trump Bible. Move over, King James. Trump's name also appears more times in the Epstein file than Harry Potter's name appears in the 7 books about Harry Potter. Lutnick says that in 2008, he went to Epstein's home, says he had a massage table in the living room, that Epstein said he got one every day, that it was the right type of massage. He and his wife decide to leave and say they'll never be in a room with him again. Howard then says, I'm sure the Epstein stuff is all on video. He was the greatest blackmailer of all time. Well, how would Howard know that? But now the files are public, and in 2012, we found out that he and his family are on Epstein Island after Epstein pled guilty to state charges. I'm from Florida. I take my family to Disney World, not to Epstein Island. There are documents in the files that dispute the president's claim that he kicked Epstein out of his club. Allegedly, the president said that he asked Epstein to leave. Supported now, that's disputed, though, statements from the manager of the club. Now, Madam Attorney General, I have like 25 seconds left. So because I'm curious, and I'd like to see you flip to the Jared Moskowitz section of the binder. I'm interested to see what staff provided on the oppo on me, and because we're in the Olympics, I'm going to give it a grade. I just want to see how good it is. So give me your best one.
So first of all, nothing is funny about mocking the Bible and holding up a Trump Bible. That's what you did. You made a joke.
Really? That's her response. Mocking the Bible, and he was not mocking the Bible. That is her response after Jared just spilled everything out, recapping everything, and that is her response. Mocking the Bible.
That's all I have to say.
That's all she had to say. That's all she has to say. She should resign. She should resign. If that's all she has to say, and she's not going to explain herself, there's no transparency, meaning that she did not do her job, basically, then why is she still there? But she's not going to get fired. She's not going to resign. Trump is still going to have her on and say that she's doing an amazing job. Now, this gentleman on X, Eric Erickson, he said when Attorney General of the United States is asked if she prosecute no one related to Jeffrey Epstein, and this is her answer, she should be fired or resign. But neither will happen, which is another reason that the Democrats are going to have a good election year. It's possible. It's possible. Again, I'm not Democrat and I'm not Republican. I'm independent and I'm an American. And I agree with Eric. She's not going to be fired. She's not going to be fired. And what Jared also mentioned about Howard Lutnick, when he said in one of the podcasts that he would never be near Jeffrey Epstein because Jeffrey Epstein is disgusting. Well, he lied because, like I said yesterday, there's files indicating that what he said was not true, and he lied about it he didn't lie about it under oath, but he lied on this podcast. But take a listen to what he has to say that after Jeffrey Epstein was convicted as a sex offender and he was registered as a sex offender, that he wasn't near Jeffrey Epstein. He didn't hang out with him. And by the way, they were neighbors in New York City. They were neighbors, but he still continued to hang out with Epstein and took his wife and his 4 children and his nanny to the pedophile island, knowing what Jeffrey Epstein has done. Isn't that something? It's disgusting. But take a listen to Howard Lucknick, what he had to say on this podcast.
8 steps it takes to get from his house to my house. My wife and I decided that I will never be in the room with that disgusting person ever again. So I was never in the room with him socially, for business, or even philanthropy. If that guy was there, I wasn't going because he's gross. One and absolutely done.
Right.
You led people to believe that you had cut off all contact with Jeffrey Epstein after the 2005 encounter you and your wife had in his apartment. But as I'm sure you know, the Epstein files show a very different record of interaction. Why did the Epstein files show you coordinating a meeting and planning a visit with Jeffrey Epstein on his private island in December 2012?
Thank you for the question. I'm glad to be here to make it clear that I met Jeffrey Epstein when I moved to a house next door to him in New York, right? And I met him then. Over the next 14 years, I met him 2 other times that I can recall, 2 times. And that is none for 6 years. So 6 years later, I met him, and then a year and a half after that, I met him, and never again. Probably the total, and you've seen all of these documents, of these millions and millions of documents, there may be 10 emails connecting me with him, probably about 10 emails connecting me with him over a 14-year period. I did not have any relationship with him. I barely had anything to do with that person, okay?
Secretary Lutnick, I think you understand the root of concern here. It's the way you described very emphatically your first encounter with him in his apartment.
Lying.
Said you were
Under
disgusted, would never have any contact with him again. Did you, in fact, make the visit to Jeffrey Epstein's private island?
I did have lunch with him as I was on a boat going across on a family vacation. My wife was with me, as were my 4 children and nannies. I had another couple they were there as well with their children, and we had lunch on the island. That is true, for an hour, and we left with all of my children, with my nannies and my wife, all together. We were on family vacation. We were not apart. To suggest there was anything untoward about that in 2012, I don't recall why we did it, but
Mr. Secretary, again, as I said, there's not an indication that you yourself engaged in any wrongdoing with Jeffrey Epstein. It's the fact that you believe that you misled the country and the Congress based on your earlier statements, suggesting that you cut off all contact when in.
Right. Like the gentleman said, he's not accusing Howard. He's just telling Howard, you went on a podcast and you said that you cut ties with Epstein. You completely cut ties with Epstein after you knowing that he was a registered sex offender. But then the file says something completely different. The file says that you still continued to engage and hang out with him, let alone you brought your wife, your 4 children, and a nanny, knowing that you have a sex offender and you went to the pedophile island with your 4 children. So that's the problem that people are having, okay? And this is why Howard, should resign. Because how can you lie like that and say that you had nothing to do with this man, but let alone you will continue to hang out with this guy, knowing what he has done with underage girls? Makes no sense. You get what I'm saying? Now, he may not have any common knowledge what Jeffrey Epstein was doing, if he knew that Jeffrey Epstein was having sex with underage girls. But again, he was a sex offender. Okay, it's registered. You know what I mean? He knew. Howard knew, and he works for Congress. Hello? He works for Congress, and he knew this. So for him to say it's a mistake, he has no idea, bullshit. You knew. You knew who he was, you knew his background, and you did not care, and you still engaged to be friends with a pedophile and went to the pedophile island. Let's continue.
In fact, you had not. When you visited the private island, did you see anything inappropriate during that visit?
The only thing I saw with my wife and my children and the other couple and their children was staff who worked for Mr. Epstein on that island.
And you realize that, this visit took place after he'd been convicted, right? I mean, you made a very big point of saying that you sensed that this was a bad person in 2005. And then, of course, in 2008, he was convicted of soliciting prostitution of a minor. And yet you went and had this trip and other interactions. Did you have a dinner in Epstein's New York City home?
With Woody Allen, by the way. It's on the files. You know what I mean? So he knew, and he still hanged out with him. Dinner, all, and everything. You know what I mean? So again, he knew about Epstein, and he still hanged out with him. And why is he still working in Congress? He should be resigned. That's just my opinion. Howard Luckman should be resigned or fired, because even though he may not have common knowledge of Epstein's behavior, but Epstein had a criminal background. Okay, he was a sex offender. He had sex with an underage girl, and then they slapped him on the wrist saying it was prostitution. The girl was 17, still a minor. She was not 18 yet. I don't care, 17 and a half, whatever, her brother, she was still a minor, okay? And for him to say that Epstein is gross, he's gross. For him to be around Epstein with your children, with your wife, with your nanny, he's gross, and he should be resigned. That's all I'm going to say about that. But let's go back to Pam, okay? Now, this video that I want to show you, which I forgot to show you yesterday, you guys. And, I have to say with this video, I really give Pam credit. I really do. And the reason why, she didn't acknowledge the victims. She didn't take any accountability. She was just reflecting. But the one thing she did that was pretty remarkable, okay, was just mentioning the stock market, mentioning 401k, how, Trump is just doing great with that. The economy is just boosting, and we should be focused on that and not focus on the Epstein files, not focus on what happened to the victims, but just focus on the economics, how things are going great, and how Trump is just doing a great thing by that. But you know what? Don't take my word for it. Pam, take it away.
Release all of those documents. He is the most transparent president in the nation's history. And none of them asked Merrick Garland over the last 4 years one word about Jeffrey Epstein. How ironic is that? You know why? Because Donald Trump, the Dow right now is over. The Dow is over $50,000. I don't know why you're laughing. You're a great stock trader, as I hear, Raskin. The Dow is over 50,000 right now. The S&P at almost 7,000. And the NASDAQ smashing records. Americans' 401ks and retirement savings are booming. That's what we should be talking about.
Basically, F the victims, F the files. There's nothing to see. We should just be focusing on that. That's the most important thing, because President Trump is doing great. The 401k and with the Messaages, all that, it's just wonderful. Just wonderful. But what's to see? There was no victims. There was no human trafficking. There was nothing. We should be focusing on that. So Pam is right. What the hell? What's the fuss about? We should be focusing on that, you guys, right? Let her finish.
We should be talking about making Americans safe.
But-
We should be
Yes.
talking about
Making America safe, but not the children. Basically, let the pedophiles keep having sex with underage girls and not making them feel safe and not arresting these criminals. But let's make America safe, because that's the most important thing, and just ignore the children. That's what she's telling all of us, you guys. Wonderful. Continue, Pam.
what does a Dow have to do with anything? That's what they just asked. Are you kidding?
Mr. Jordan, Mr. Jordan,
Committee will be in order.
Mr. Jordan, am I going to get an extra 45 seconds added to my time?
The committee will be in order. The time belongs to the gentleman from.
So yeah, you guys, we should not be focusing on the children, and we should not be caring about the children. We should be focusing that money is coming, our 401k is growing, everything is just doing great. And just make America great again, and just disregard children being trafficking, basically. Just turn the blind eye. Yeah, Pam. So that's what you want us to do. And this is the woman that should continue to work with President Trump when she should be resigning or fired. But that's what Trump wants. That's what Trump gets, I guess. But anyway, moving on. I want to talk about Ghislaine Maxwell. I don't understand, you guys, why people are still entertaining her. She is a liar. She's not irrelevant. There's nothing that she can say that's really true. Nothing that comes out of her mouth is true. Okay, it's all lies. I don't know why they're paying any attention to her or giving any time of day. I don't know why they moved her to a soft prison in Texas. Okay, the woman is a criminal. The woman recruited young girls for her boyfriend, Epstein, okay? And also assaulted these young girls as well. So I don't know why they're giving her a hard pass and even entertaining the nonsense that she's saying, okay? Now she wants clemency. Now she wants to plead the fifth. So what did she told Deputy Attorney General Tom Blanche for 9 hours? What did she say? She just basically said, well, President Trump is not on the files. President Trump didn't do anything inappropriately. That's all she said for 9 hours when she sat down and talked to Todd. And now she did this deposition, and now she's pleading the fifth. She's playing games. What they should have done is take her ass, put her back in that other prison. Why keep her in that soft prison that she can just walk around, get whatever she wants? She's a criminal. She should be with the rest of the criminals, okay? She should be with the rest of the criminals locked up and not be getting like special treatment. And that's basically what she's getting. She's getting special treatment when she shouldn't. It's utterly disgusting. So take a listen to this, her deposition and what she has to say. Before I do that, you guys, I just want to show you a clip of this news reporter talking about this, about Ghislaine Maxwell, and how she refused to answer any questions. So if she refused to answer questions in the deposition, again, the question is, and I'm circling back to this question, what the hell she told Todd for those 9 hours? What did she tell him? She only just said that, oh, President Trump is not in the files. That's it, that he did not engage any activities with underage girls. Okay, then why not tell the truth? Again, she's playing games. She wants President Trump to give her clemency, and then she will talk. That's not how it works. And I hope and pray no one doesn't entertain this, okay? Because she's a liar. She has no capability of telling the truth, and she's just trying to play, trying to get the upper hand. You know what I mean? Like, you have to cooperate with me. If you want any answers, and if you want me to tell the truth, you have to give me what I want. Which I hope he just absolutely says no and said absolutely not. You're going to rot in prison for the next 20 years, even more. Take a listen to what the news reporter, what he has to say.
Co-conspirator of the late convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein appeared by video from prison before a House committee today. And to every single question, she pled the fifth, offering absolutely nothing new about Epstein's crimes. She will only talk, her lawyer said, if granted clemency first by President Trump. Here's Justice correspondent Scott McFarland.
I invoke my Fifth Amendment right.
Ghislaine Maxwell's virtual deposition today with a congressional committee lasted just minutes.
She had an opportunity today to answer questions that every American has.
Maxwell pleaded the Fifth. Her attorney said she will speak honestly about the crimes against girls and clear President Trump of wrongdoing only if granted clemency by Trump.
I don't think she is going to be helpful at all to anyone in this unless and until she can get a promise that she'll be let out of jail.
Damage from the Epstein files continues to spread. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick faces new calls to resign after CBS News reported Lutnick was in business with Epstein as recently as 2014 and discussed a 2012 family trip to Epstein's island, despite claiming he cut ties with Epstein after 2005.
My wife and I decided that I will never be in the room with that disgusting person.
Pause. I just don't understand how these people can lie with a straight eyes. How can they just lie knowing that they had dealings with Epstein? I just don't understand that. I don't understand how people could sleep at night, but I guess, when you have money and you have connections, you can do that. You can just lie to people straight to their face and say what they want you to hear, and they can live with that. They can. And to me, when someone does that, you're dangerous. Because if you can lie to someone straight in their face and say all these things when you know it factually is not true, you're capable of doing anything. And to me, I don't want to be around people like that. I really don't, because to me, you're dangerous. Dangerous.
Ever again.
A Commerce Department spokesperson called the men's interactions limited. Other new files show Health Secretary RFK Jr. once went dinosaur bone hunting with Epstein and Maxwell. In Europe, 2 aides to British Prime Minister Keir Starmer have resigned, and there are calls for Starmer to step down himself, under pressure for appointing Peter Mandelson ambassador, despite his long friendship with Epstein. Former Prince Andrew has been further implicated, now under investigation for allegedly sharing confidential material with Epstein. Buckingham Palace says King Charles said he would support the probe, while the Prince and Princess of Wales said they are deeply concerned.
Today, the Department of Justice began allowing
At least Britain doing something about it. At least Britain are having these people resign, whoever had dealings with Epstein. At least they're doing something about it. Our United States, they're not doing shit. They're not doing anything. They're really not. And lastly, before I just, I'm just going to put this whole situation of arrest, meaning that this is just for me. I can't speak for anyone else. I just feel like there's not going to be any justice for these victims. They're not, okay? They say there's going to be an open investigation. I doubt that. They say there's going to be transparency and then they're going to release the elites' names. I hope that's true. I really don't. But I can honestly say that there's not going to be any arrests made. There's not going to be any accountabilities. Yes, there's going to be names be exposed. People, these elite men are going to be embarrassed and shamed, and a lot of people are not going to deal with them. I see that. However, I do not see any arrests made. I don't see any accountabilities, and it's just going to go away. And that's sad to say, especially for the victims, when it should not be political. It should be, what's the word? It's a crime. It's criminal. You know what I mean? And there should be justice for that. Because if they're not setting a good example that if these men can do this, and they've been doing this for decades, how is it fair for other survivors to come forward and tell their story and tell what happened to them when no one's not going to believe them, that they're just going to turn a blind eye? How is that fair for the victims? How is that fair for a woman to come forward when they're not going to get any justice because you have money, because you have connections, because you know people, you can get away with it. And there's not going to be any consequences for their actions of what they done. And it's sad and it's disgusting. And we should be outraged. I know I'm outraged. I'm not shocked, but I'm not surprised. And neither should you. You shouldn't be surprised. And like I said, I'm hopeful, but I'm not going to hold my breath to see there's going to be any justice for the victims. Anyway, that's all I have to say about that. Moving on, you guys. Now, I don't even know what to say to the next thing. This next the next topic that I want to talk about. So I was watching Candace Owens last night, and she revealed a lot of things about Erica Kirk. And I have to say, I have my my thoughts about this, and I'm just going to tell you. Now, watching the Candace Owens episode about Erica Kirk having some type of relationship with a 15-year-old, and I'm like, that's pretty odd. She was 25 at the time. The girl was 15. Her name is Julian. And I'm thinking to myself when Candace Owens was talking about this, and first what came initially to my mind was Erica a lesbian? You know what I mean? She was 25, she was 15. Like, that's like kind of like statutory rape. But then the more time I listened to Candace Owens, and I'm like, oh, completely what I thought it was, but it wasn't, obviously, because I thought Erica doesn't seem the type to swing the other way. But it wasn't like that. It was something completely different. Like she was grooming this girl, this 15-year-old girl, Julian. And I'm going to let you listen to Candace Owens, what she said, because it was a TikToker, Nicey, who explained of the text exchange between Erica and Julian, and also a YouTuber, Baron Coleman, also talked about it on his show as well. And I'm going to give you my assessment when Candace Owens is finished talking about this, because this is just wild. This is just crazy. And it makes a lot of sense now looking back and listening to that video. I mean, listen to Candace Owens' podcast last night and putting all the pieces together. It makes a lot of sense now. It really does. But take a listen to what Candace Owens had to say yesterday on her podcast about Erica Kirk and the text message that she exchanged with the 15-year-old, which, by the way, inappropriate. Who in their right mind, as a 25-year-old woman, texting a 15-year-old girl? Think about it. If the roles were reversed, we would be outraged, we would be pissed. They sent it because it's a woman, and people are going to justify, well, it's a woman, and she's 15. It's okay. Maybe they were just being friends and pals on the internet. It's normal. It's a normal thing for a 25-year-old woman to text a 15-year-old. What the hell you have in common with a 15-year-old? Like, you will not see me, 45. Am I 45? Shit, I don't even. 46, excuse me, pardon me. 46-year-old texting a 16-year-old boy. What the hell do I have in common with a 16-year-old? That's just weird, creepy, inappropriate, okay? To me. Now, to some people, they think it's normal for a woman to text a 14-year-old, engage in a conversation on social media, and that's what happened between the both of them. They were texting through social media. It's inappropriate. It's just weird. It doesn't look right, okay? Whether if it's a woman doing it to a 14-year-old girl or a 25-year-old man doing it to a 14-year-old girl, it's weird. It's inappropriate. And don't let anyone tell you that that's fucking normal. Excuse my French, because it's not normal. It is weird and inappropriate, period. But listen to what Candace Owens has to say.
Large influx of emails because Baron Coleman had a bit of a viral episode regarding a seemingly weird relationship that Erica had with a then 15-year-old girl named Jillian. Erica was 25 years old at the time, and they developed a relationship that some people believe amounted to a type of grooming. Now, Baron Coleman was very clear. He gave specific instructions to his viewers not to reach out to Jillian, who is now an adult, about the situation. And I, for some reason, was unable to follow these simple instructions. I reached out to her immediately. I don't know what's wrong with me. So today, obviously, like I said, is our last episode before we take a week off air, pulling things together for our Erica Kirk biographical series. Working title, Fatal Attraction? I'm kidding. Maybe I'm kidding. We don't know. Speaking of a fatal attraction, something that has been doing the rounds on social media, thanks to, first and foremost, a YouTuber by the name of Nicey. So full credit to Nicey. And then, of course, Baron Coleman picked it up. I love it. We're all just pooling information. And here we are. Is regarding this relationship that Erica had over, it looks like social media. A lot of it played out over social media. And I'm just going to actually cut to Nicey here, who's going to unpack it for you. And to give you a little bit of background, it's 2013, and therefore Erica has just completed her year as Miss Arizona, and she's 25 years old at the time, Erica is. And now you're going to learn how she met Jillian. Take a listen.
Back in 2013, Erica was 25 years old, and she was in a relationship with a basketball player named Joshua Harrelson. So at the time, he was living in Michigan, and Erica moved out there to be with him. On the evening of September 15, 2013, Joshua Harrelson and Erica met a 15-year-old girl named Jillian Falcon. And I know this because Jillian tweeted about it. At 3:53 p.m., Jillian tweeted that she was out for sushi with her friend, and 2 hours later she tweeted, "Just met Miss Arizona and Josh Harrelson, heart eyes emoji." Now, I'm not sure if Jillian coincidentally bumped into Erica and Joshua or if they were introduced. What I do know is that Jillian had a friend, and the friend's grandparents were renting a home to Erica in Michigan. So I'm not entirely sure if all of these people just bumped into each other coincidentally at the sushi restaurant or if they were formally introduced, but nonetheless, they met, and Erica struck up what I view as a very odd relationship with the 15-year-old girl named Jillian.
So I can help clarify. I can build on that. Like I said, I spoke with Jillian, and that information, part of that information is very accurate. It was about payment for rent, and that is how Jillian meets Erica Kirk. She opened the door. She's presumably living with or visiting her boyfriend at the time, and she sees Erica Kirk, and she thinks, oh my gosh, this girl, 25-year-old girl, is so beautiful, and Erica is extremely kind to her, and they start speaking, and somehow, and Jillian does not recall how this transpired, somehow during this rent arrangement, Erica and her exchange numbers, okay? So what happens next is they...
And I want to stop right there. I just want to start right there. Exchange numbers. That's number one red flag. That's what I noticed that. Red flag number one, exchanging numbers. Where was the mother? Where was the mother all of this? You know what I mean? Red flag number one. Continue on, Candace.
Begin messaging each other, a texting relationship, and across social media, making comments on one another's posts. And in the beginning, it seems fine enough, I guess. The conversation is polite, maybe something that you might expect to see between someone who has some level of notoriety or fame and one of their fans over social media. But then it picks up, just as Nicey indicates. It picks up, and I am going to allow you to listen to her explain what then transpires. And I would also, again, like to reinforce the fact that this girl, Jillian, is 15 years old and Erica is 25. It's worth mentioning that at this point in her biography, Erica is also working with sex trafficking charities. This is that year where she says that she got involved with a sex trafficking charity over in China. I'll have more for you on that next week, but take it away, Nicey.
Yes, Nicey. Take it away.
On February 13th, 2014, Jillian replied to one of Erica's tweets by saying, "At Erica Francevy, gorgeous as always." A few hours later, she then tweeted, "Why did at Erica Francevy just send me this?" Laughing emojis, and there is a photo which says, "This Valentine's Day, I am going to touch your butt." Jillian posted this tweet on March 6, 2014. So Erica says, "Let me call you, hold on sweetheart, give me a sex. Wow." And then Jillian says, "Okay," and puts laughing emojis. Erica then says, "Sex too, but not from you, LOL. Holy shit," laughing emoji. "You always make me laugh. I don't bat for the other team just yet." On March 13th, 2014, Jillian shared another screenshot of her text messages with Erica. Erica says, "I forgot to tell you, hydrate tonight. No alcohol, and don't eat a lot of salty foods. You don't want to look bloated." Jillian then responds, "Thank you." Erica says, "No alcohol." Really, Erica? Age recognition, you twat waffle. Apparently, I haven't had my coffee yet. What the hell, Erica? Laughing emoji. Well, on that bite, ... Note, damn you, Siri. Come on, hashtag the struggle. What are you trying to say, laughing emoji? Spit it out, you twat waffle. On the morning of March 26, 2014, Jillian tweeted, "I just want to be somebody's woman crush Wednesday. Is that too much to ask?" That evening, she then tweets, "Thank you at Erica Francevy for making my whole week," and she shares this photo, and the photo is of a gnome, and it says, "I want to be inside your lady garden." Gnome saying, on April 3rd, 2014, Jillian tweeted this picture and said, "I miss this goon." A few minutes later, she tweeted, "Did Erica just text me hashtag no new friends? Oh my fucking god, I can't. A few days later, on April 5th, 2014, Jillian posted this tweet. Getting this in the mail from Erica Fronsky. And in the photo is a red box of chocolate-covered strawberries and other chocolate desserts. And the card in the photo says this. Happy sweet 16, beautiful girl. Keep strong in faith and know that you're loved. But most of all, never forget that you are perfect and amazing just the way you are. I am so proud of you. Today is the first day of another 365-day journey around the sun. Enjoy the trip, boo. Love you, E. On June 7, 2014, Jillian shared this tweet. This has to be the most heartfelt compliment I've ever gotten. And she attached a screenshot of her conversation with Erica. So Jillian says, thank you. Erica says, you have the most stunning features. Jillian says, best compliment ever. Erica says, your eyes, your lips, your skin, you're absolutely beautiful. Jillian responds with the crying emoji, you're making me cry. In February of 2014, Jillian went on a family trip to Puerto Rico, and Erica was liking and commenting on her Instagram posts. So Jillian posted this photo of the beach, and Erica says, unreal gorgeous. And then Jillian responds, this is by far my favorite picture I took. My mom wants to get it blown up at Erica Fronsky. Erica responds, I could see why, boo. Jillian responds, so perfect at Erica Fronsky. Erica then responds, ... yes, I know you are.
Pause, Candace. Pause. Okay, I have to step in. I really have to step in here. It's blatantly obvious what Erica Kirk. Well, she was not Erica Kirk at the time. Maybe Erica, what she was doing. Okay, you have a 14-year-old. Okay, young, naive, don't know better, and then she she's struck in by Erica, her beauty, blonde hair, blue eyes, very stunning, very beautiful, and a little bit semi-famous because she's dating a basketball player or whatever she was doing at the time. Of course, any 14-year-old girl would be like, oh, it's like meeting a celebrity. Obviously, you know what Erica was doing. Another red flag, complimenting her, saying she has nice lips, she has a nice, beautiful body, sexy, sending box of chocolate, basically grooming her and just building her in. Okay? To me, an outside looking in, what Erica is doing is grooming her and probably trying to traffic her. Okay? That's what it seemed like to me what Erica is doing. Okay? Not engaging in a relationship with Jillian, but winning her trust, gaining her trust. And on top of that, Jillian had not had a relationship with her father for the last 2 years, over 2 years, okay? Erica knew that because Jillian posted that on her social media page. So that's like another win for Erica because she's vulnerable. She doesn't have a father figure in her life. It's just her mother. So that's a good way to will someone in. And by the way, this whole thing reminds me of Ghislaine Maxwell, what she's doing. Basically, I feel like Erica was recruiting the young girl. Basically, it just reminds me of Ghislaine Maxwell recruiting young high school underage girls, and I feel like Erica was doing the same. Very weird, very creepy. Okay. And the funny thing is, while I was watching Candace, the two never even met. They never hung out. And Erica wanted this girl, 14-year-old girl, to go meet a photographer and to take pictures. That's why Erica said in that exchange, do not drink alcohol, do not eat salty food because you don't want to be bloated. Because she wanted Jillian to look her best and look her finest, to take pictures with a creepy, according to Jillian. At the time, Jillian said that this photographer was very creepy, to take photos of her at night. So basically, Erica told Jillian to go to this spot at night without her mother, without any getting consent, which is very odd to me. So this photographer is taking pictures of a minor. Let me remind you, of a minor with not an adult present, not even her own mother present while he's taking photos of her. Inappropriate. That's just weird. And Erica did not even consult that with Jillian's mom. Say, oh, by the way, I know this photographer that's going to take pictures of your daughter for modeling or whatever. Do like acting shoots, photo shoot. We need to get headshots or whatever. She didn't even discuss that with Jillian's mom. She just told Julian, this is where you need to be. This is the photographer, and he's going to take pictures. Without even asking the mother's consent, without having an adult present, let alone Erica knew that this girl was a minor. 15. This whole thing could have went south. Thank God it didn't. Thank God that, Julian, she's 27 years old and she's somewhere, living her good life, I hope, and having a relationship with her father now, I hope and pray. But it could have went south. It could have went a whole different way. And thank God it didn't, you guys. Thank God it didn't. But the point of the matter is, this is all red flags. She knew about this, Erica, and she didn't even care. And I believe, and what Candace Owens is pointing at, among other people who are pointing at, is that Erica girl was trying to traffic this girl, this 15-year-old girl, by her meeting this photographer and taking photos of this girl. Which, she's a minor, by the way. A minor. But Erica, she didn't care. She didn't care. And then with all this scandal with Romanian angels, the sex scandaling, the trafficking scandaling, the human trafficking scandaling, like I said, all of it. It's not a coincidence, you guys. It's not a coincidence. But let Candace Owens finish and listen to what she has to say. Continue, Candace.
I'm just going to follow that with a little bit of silence. I just want us to all contemplate it. Let's actually contemplate it for the people who are going to try to explain it. The Erica splainers, who are going to be like, that's not weird. No. What? Exactly. Never been a 25-year-old sending chocolate-covered strawberries to a 15-year-old? That's not weird. You guys are haters.
No, we're not haters.
Oh, come on. You've never, as a 25-year-old, decided to message a 15-year-old about their lips and their skin and how perfect they are. You never decided to message them when they posted a photo of them with a person that's their age and said, no new friends. Almost like territorial, or that's obviously all just a joke or something like that. By the way, just in general, going back to how they met, I'm trying to rationalize in my head, under what scenario, if a 15-year-old, if you opened the door and a 15-year-old was there, would you exchange numbers with them? I'm trying to rationalize it. Maybe if they were with their parent and they were like, the parents were like, he was looking for a job. Like, I don't know if you need like a babysitter. You guys want to go to dinner for a couple of hours, sort of a thing, maybe. But I'd probably take the parents' number. Yeah, I would definitely take the parents' number. I actually can't rationalize that. So I'm throwing that out because sometimes people in the chat can be more creative than me. And they can say, oh, no, it's totally adorable to exchange numbers with the 15-year-olds and then kind of have this relationship with them where you're commenting and saying, making lesbian jokes. I don't, swing for the next team yet. Is that appropriate to say to a 15-year-old when you're 25?
Absolutely
Come on,
not.
where are my Erica splainers in the chat?
Yeah, explain.
I want to hear it. It's a time to be alive. Everyone's explaining Jeffrey Epstein and all of his friends. Go ahead, go for it. I think it's fine. Go ahead. I want to hear it.
Me too. I want to hear it as well.
There's so much that disturbs me about that. But again, when I first was going, everything is wrong here. That's my natural intuition. I didn't want to then extrapolate and jump to conclusions until I spoke with Jillian. On the off chance that maybe it is my personal senses, having learned everything about Erica's background, maybe my personal senses about Erica might be clouding my judgment. Maybe there was a perfectly reasonable explanation for that sort of relationship.
Maybe you're biased, Candace.
She really is just such an amazing person by the time she's 25 years old. Such a strong and faithful Christian that she wants a 15-year-old to feel sexy. Christ-like. Or something. I also want to note that this particular 15-year-old at this time, what we know based off of Jillian's tweets, is that she doesn't have a father in her life. Okay. She tweeted this in June of 2014. I haven't seen my dad over 2 years. Okay. The reason why I want to point that out is because Charlie Kirk and I did a lot on the road discussing father absence and how these teenagers and children are instantly more vulnerable to tons of things, getting involved in the wrong networks, criminal activity. You need a father in the home. So I just find it interesting that it's a good fact to know about this girl at this time. Maybe her father's in her life since. I don't know. I didn't ask her. But I told you I called her. I instantly reached out because sometimes I just can't follow instructions the right way. And I asked her about how she felt about it 10 years removed from a situation. And she responded exactly how you might expect. She said at the time, as a 15-year-old, she was blown away by this amazingly beautiful, older, semi-famous person that was giving her all of this attention. And for clarity, I am completely empathetic to that position and experience as a younger girl, obviously. I correlated to how I felt. I think I've told you guys in the past about Christina Aguilera when she first dropped. And then I was obsessed with her when I was 13, 14 years old. My mom put me on punishment because I was so obsessed with Christina Aguilera. Christina Aguilera, at that point in my life, maybe if my mom had not punished me for idolatry, but at that point in my life, I'm racing home to watch TRL because I got to make sure she's number one. If Christina Aguilera had then given me tons of attention, I'd be like, oh, I can't even believe this. Christina Aguilera is giving me attention. She probably could have manipulated me into a lot of things because my brain would not have been developed. This is normal tween to early teen emotions and passion. And it's precisely, if you track my work, what has always been my biggest gripe with Taylor Swift, even though I like her music, it's because I find that she harnesses the power of that tween emotion to get business deals done. Yet she's 36. Anyway, I digress. That's the point of that. We know that they're reactive, they're emotional, and her fans will kill somebody if they have to, right? But hindsight is 20/20, as we always say. And Jillian today is now 27 years old, and she fully appreciates how absolutely weird this was and how absolutely weird it is. And she's going back and she is wondering, what exactly was this all about?
Trafficking.
What exactly was Erica harnessing her teenage emotion for? Why is she continually telling her that she's beautiful, that she has perfect lips?
To gain her trust, to give her confidence. Just like Candace always said, she was young, naive, her brain was not fully developed. If I was a 14-year-old and then I had met someone that I was kind of like idolized that person, yeah, I'd be strucken too. I would be in awe. You know what I mean? Yeah, she was trying to win Julian's trust, give her that confidence, give her that boost, because I believe that Erica Kirk read that text message that Julian posted that she had not seen her father for the last 2 years. So basically, Julian did not have a father figure. Okay, she did not. And Erica used that for her advantage to manipulate Julian. That's exactly what Erica did. That's exactly what she did.
Lips. Why is this 25-year-old who's not even from Michigan interested in this dialogue with her? And something she points out is, I was with my friend when I met her, but she never had this relationship with Cheyenne. Cheyenne is mentioned elsewhere in that video. Why was it particularly Jillian that she was interested in? And curiously, get this, she tells me that she and Erica actually never hung out in person beyond that first meeting. So this was purely meant to be a platonic relationship where Erica said stuff even like this to her on Instagram. Jillian, that dime piece beside the car, though, she's referring to Jillian, just so we're clear, she's referring to Jillian beside a car as a dime piece. Again, if this was two 15-year-olds speaking to each other, I'd be like, that's totally fine. I actually tend to agree with Nicey's assessment elsewhere in the video. Just put in your mind, this is a 25-year-old man referring to a 15-year-old girl. What would happen?
Paul, you'd be outraged. You'd be outraged. The point of the matter is, and I just don't want to have you guys listen to the whole thing. The point of the matter is, if the roles were reversed, we all would be pissed and outraged. Okay? But since because Erica is a woman and she's 25, and then Julian was 15 at the time, they're going to say that's typically normal. They're two friends hanging out. Again, what do 25 and a 15 have in common? 15-year-old girl have in common? Absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. It's just weird, okay? It's just weird, inappropriate. I don't care what anyone tells me that that's a normal thing. This is a normal thing now in 2026. No, it's not. No, it's not. Because if the roles were reversed, you would say it's absolutely weird, inappropriate, and disgusting. We need to call the police. We need to call the police. Okay, this is just all allegedly, but I believe this is my opinion that Erica was trying to sex traffic her. Luckily, it didn't go there. It didn't get that far. Thank God. Thank God. But just like Candace always said, that now that Julian's looking back, All of it was strange. All of it was weird and not appropriate at all. So what to make of this? What to make of this text messages? It's just very strange, very inappropriate, and there's a lot more that meets the eye with Erica Kirk. Okay, a lot more. Okay, and a lot of things are being exposed, and a lot of things are coming out, and I cannot wait until Candace Owens come back on the 23rd to release some stuff about Erica Kirk, and it will shed some light of everything, of the behavior that she's been doing since the assassination of Charlie Kirk, her background, everything. And it's going to make so much sense when Candace Owens gets back from her break. And I'm all for it. I'm all for it. And I can't believe I'm saying this. Like I was rooting for Erica. I really was, because she lost her husband. You know, she's a single mom, and I was really grieving for her. I really was, among a lot of people too. But then the behavior, the stuff that she was saying, the lines, and how she treated her Turning Point USA employees, how she just lets them go and fired them, and how she was so excited about the event of the century and the money. It was not even about Charlie Kirk. This whole time it wasn't. It was all pretend. It was all fake. She fooled a lot of people. She really did. That is not a grieving widow. She knew exactly what she was doing, and she did it perfectly. She deserved the Oscar of the year for 2026. So, excuse me, 2025 and 2026. She deserved an Oscar for just showing that performances, just showing that grief when all of it was just fake. Looking back, it was just fake. She was not grieving. That was not grief. That was her getting what she wants, and now she is the queen of the castle. Now she got everything that she wants. Now her husband is gone. Tyler Robinson is the shooter, which there's no evidence to the fact that he shot Charlie Kirk. Okay, she got everything that she wanted. She did. And you know, like I said, and like Candace Owens and among other people said, when things are hidden in the dark, Jesus is going to bring it to the light. It doesn't matter what you say, what you do, how much money you have, God is going to bring it to the light. And Erica Kirk, the people, Turning Point USA, Andrew Corbett, Mikey McCoy, Rob McCoy, all of them who were involved in this, Tyler Bowler, all of them, Charlie Kirk's head of security, all of them are going to be exposed. Will there be arrests made? Probably not, just like Epstein. I'm just being honest here. I'm just being honest with you guys. But a lot of people are going to be exposed, and we're going to really know who these people really are. And Turning Point USA organization, it will never be the same once things are getting exposed. When things are come out, it will never be the same. You mark my words. You mark my words. You remember this conversation that I said. Once everything is exposed, and once the truth comes out, it will never be the same. We're going to see these fraudulent people who they are. Because right now they're fraudulent to me. They're fraudulent, they're lying, and the lies are catching up to them. They can't even remember the first lie they told. They're trying to gaslight the public, saying that it's not this, it's that. No one's not buying it. No one's not buying the BS. We're not. We're not stupid, okay? We actually see what is going on. We actually see what's happening here, okay? This is not 1963 anymore. It's not. This is the new age, the new time, and we're on it, okay? With new technology, AI, Chat GPT, we're on it. We're not living in cave world or cave land or whatever anymore. We're not stupid. So don't try to fool the public, because it's not helping. Now, maybe some people are going to believe things that Erica Kirk said. Oh, you know, you should back off because she's a grieving widow. How dare you? You're being disrespectful. No, she's being disrespectful for lying. And people are catching her lies. And she's not taking any accountability of the lies that she's being caught with. Okay? I'm sorry. When there's a massive or a big, huge investigation, the wife is always the suspect. They didn't investigate her. They didn't interview her. They didn't grab her phone. None of that. They didn't follow the money. None of that. She's a grieving widow, so she wouldn't have nothing to do with the murder of her husband. I don't get it. The wife is always the prime suspect, or vice versa. And they didn't do none of that. They didn't like hold her up for questioning. They didn't do none of that. They're just like, okay, you didn't do it. You didn't have no involvement, even though they had an argument on the 8th and the 9th. You know what I mean? I don't get it. I just don't get it. But anyway, I believe a lot of these people have common knowledge of what happened to Charlie Kirk on that day on 9/10, and they're covering it up. They're covering it up. They're trying to cover their tracks, but a lot of things are getting exposed. A lot of things are coming out, and it's just a moment of time. It's just a moment of time that things are going to be exposed. So get ready. Get ready. It's coming. I keep saying that it's coming. So I really feel bad for Erica, Andrew Colbert, Michael McCoy, anyone that was involved in the whole thing. I really feel bad for them because they call themselves a Christian organization. That is not a Christian organization. It's not. They just want your money. They just want your money, and they're trying to be fake and gay, and they're just trying to say it's all for the Lord. What Charlie would do? Charlie's no longer here. He's dead. He's gone. Okay? So you cannot say what would Charlie do? What would Charlie think you're doing this for? No. Because if Charlie was alive, he wouldn't do none of that stuff. He wouldn't do none of that stuff, and we all know it. He wouldn't. The organization has changed. It's not about, bringing people together. On top of that, it's not even about Christ. It's not. It's about money, 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 and money. That's what's it about, and that's all I have to say, you guys. Thank you so much for joining me on live. Let me know what you think. Drop it in the comments. I really appreciate each and one of you, and stay safe. God bless. And tomorrow is Valentine's Day, so treat your wife, your girlfriend, take them out, massage her back, her feet. Do something special for tomorrow for Valentine's Day. Take care. God bless. And I will see you guys on the next live.